Hello and welcome back to Stories with me, Jesse. And today we're once again looking at some crazy customer service stories that real waiters and baristas deal with every day over at Reddit/talesfromyourserver. Let me know what you think of these stories in the comments, as well as any suggestions you might have that we may just use in a future installment. Be aware that limited seating is available, and we're getting started now. Our first story is titled, A New Breed of Awful Customer. My restaurant has switched over to carry-out only due to current events, which hasn't been too horrible for the most part. That is until we started seeing a new weekly customer. Now, it isn't the worst thing we've had to deal with, but after a while it starts to grate on your nerves. A normal interaction with him goes as such. Hi, how are you? Ignores everything. Are you picking up? Nods his head once. What's the name for the order? Sighs the most long-suffering sigh you ever did hear. All right, your total is X amount. And that's usually it. But ever since I had the nerve to remind this customer that they have to wear a mask indoors due to the governor's orders, he's become increasingly snippy and combative. He came in and tried to pay with $100 bills for a $12 order. When I informed him we don't accept $50 or $100 bills, and even pointed to the prominent sign which said no, he got a stupid smirk on his face. Well, I only have $100. I'm sorry, unless you have a card, you have to pay with smaller bills. The gas station down the street might be able to cash it for you. I only have $100, and I don't think I brought my card. Sir, this is a small store. We simply don't have the change. He finally put the stack of bills away and magically had a card. I was stupid to think that'd be the end of it, though. He came in and put down 2 rolls of coins, $10 in the form of quarters and $5 in the form of dimes. Once again, he had this smirk on his face like he won a game he created. Little did he know that I'm super petty. I will play someone's game and I will win it. So I unwrap the coins and start counting them out in front of him. After I'm done with the quarters, I go to pick up the dimes and he interrupts me. It's wrapped for $5. You can just put it in and give me the change. I'm sorry, I have to make sure it's all there. We have had trouble with this before. Oh. So I count out the rest of the change that I needed from the dimes, and instead of giving him the dollar bills he probably wanted, I scooped the rest of the dimes up and gave them back. Granted, it was super petty and I shouldn't have done it, but I'm tired of customers coming in like they're God's gift to Earth just because of the current state of the world. I'm pretty sure that any of us who have worked in the service industry have had experiences like these, and I'll admit, I've acted in a similarly passive-aggressive manner when people have repeatedly tested my patience. Have any of you ever worked in the food or customer service industry? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Moving on, our next story is called... My boss defended me, as only a mother can. I worked for years in an upscale restaurant owned by a Greek family. If you have ever worked for a Greek family, you know that if you're there for years, you are family. In the decade that I waited tables there, I had exactly 2 experiences that upset me due to customers. One involved the grabbing of my body part by a drunk customer and ended up with the owner, head waiter, 2 busboys, the chef, and dishwasher yelling at him in 4 different languages. He ended up in the dumpster. I am not sure he knows completely what happened. The other was this. The man was by himself and a prick to start out. He was wearing a very nice suit with a pocket square. He was whatever a male Karen is called. His food was too slow, not right, too cold, blah blah blah. The 4th time his reorder came, it was apparently fine, or the 3 martinis kicked in. The staff was keeping an eye on him too, because I never complained about a customer except him. When I came by to ask if he wanted any dessert, his response was, "You covered in whipped cream, honey." Then he slapped my ass. I was livid. I had a pitcher in my hand to refill water. Yep, right over his head. He started screaming and yelled for the owner. She came out and he stood there dripping wet, yelling at her that he wanted me fired immediately. I just stood there with my arms crossed. She looked at me and said, "You dumped water on him?" "Yep," he smirked. "He deserves or accident?" He turns red, getting ready to yell again. "He absolutely deserved it," I replied. She started out in English, but at some point went to Greek. Without turning, she made a come here gesture towards the kitchen. Every male in the kitchen came out and stood behind us. After a bit of back and forth, she ended with, "This good girl, she not mad easy. She handle party of 60 herself. She do this, then you a bad man. You pay. Leave good tip, then you never come back to any of my restaurants." I think the table of firemen, some regulars of mine by the way, standing up, also helped make her point. She took his picture and made sure all 5 of her restaurants in our not very big town had a copy and his name. Now that sounds like a sweet family to work for. More often than not, businesses are so focused on not offending anyone or risking some kind of threat for a lawsuit. But for grabbing a girl's bottom like that, he was lucky that all he got was a pitcher of water dumped on his head. Our next story is titled, "The Nastiest Customers Gave Me the Greatest Serving Experience of My Life." This happened years ago, but it still feels like it was yesterday. I, 29 female, was serving at a Steak and Shake and was about 70 pounds bigger than I am now. I'm very white, with blonde hair, so you wouldn't know by looking at me that I'm almost fluent in Spanish. As I was cleaning a table one night, the one right next to it was seated for me. While wiping the dirty table, I heard the new table talking loudly about me in Spanish. They were saying how big my butt was, how fat I was, how they didn't want to be served by someone so disgusting, not knowing that I 100% understood them. My initial reaction was anger and tears. I wanted to give them bad service and not even try to be nice, but I wanted to be the bigger person. I walked to the table and did my "Welcome to Steak and Shake, my name is Brandy and I'm here to help you out," but I said it all in Spanish. The look of shock and embarrassment on their faces gave me one of the greatest feelings ever. Then I listed every burger, every milkshake flavor, and every side item in Spanish. For the entire meal, I spoke no English at all, and I gave them the kindest, most attentive service I've ever given anyone. The nicer I was, the more humiliated and ashamed they were. When one of them asked quietly if he could have some more water, I already had a tray in my hand with his water on it. They refused to speak to me in Spanish and would hardly even look at me. When they left, they closed their $25 check, then left me a $50 bill under a plate for my tip. Such a glorious day! Everyone always asks why I didn't spit in their food, give them bad service, or ring in their order wrong. Kill people with kindness, baby! That's the way I do it! Isn't that just the best way to hit him where it hurts? God, that was such a satisfying story! I love imagining how good she felt, making them feel sick and awful by being more and more kind to them. Let me know if you were as entertained as I was by this story below. Our final story is titled, "I Finally Snapped on a Karen." Recently found me a new job that I really enjoy. I worked both my old job at the restaurant and my new one for a while, till I was able to fully start the new job. It's been a couple weeks since I quit the restaurant, and I went in to pick up my last check. They are doing to-go orders only, like a lot of places are doing right now. I went up to the cashier station, and my friend was the only person working, and one cook. So I just started talking to her about what has been going on and my new job and stuff, while she got my check from under the counter. The kitchen yelled, "Order up!" that echoed through the whole empty restaurant. So she went to grab the order, and I stayed at the front waiting for her to come back. I was standing next to the cashier stand, not behind it. A car pulled up and parked in front of the restaurant in a handicap spot, and I noticed they didn't have any stickers to park there. I recognized the lady from when I used to work there. She's a total Karen bitch that every single person working here hated. She always had many complaints and almost never tipped. She would come in with a group of 2 to 3 more Karens and run the waitress stand for around 2 hours and then not tip. She even made a new girl cry one day. So I started to walk to the back to get my friend, and so Karen wouldn't say anything to me. But she obviously recognized me from when I worked there. Some of this is paraphrased because I was so angry, I don't remember exactly word for word. Karen screaming, red in the face, "I want a refund! I'm so fed up with all of you not knowing how to do your job!" "Let me get you someone to help." "No! You will give me my money back right this second! I am never coming back here again! That girl said she checked the order, but it's wrong! I was here a few minutes ago and ordered grilled catfish, and there's no tartar sauce in it! How am I supposed to eat fish with no tartar sauce? And I never got the Dr. Pepper I paid for!" She looked like she was about to explode with anger. I was starting to feel angry too. "And I drove here twice already! I want money for the gas I wasted!" "Okay, just let me go get someone to help you." I will admit I said it in a snappy way. I do not appreciate anyone talking to me like that. She noticed and immediately started cussing me out, and my friend came out from the back asking what happened. Karen starts yelling at her, and I went to the back. I quickly asked the cook for a tartar sauce while I made a Dr. Pepper. I then walked back up to Karen. She was still demanding a refund and $50 for gas. There's no way she used $50 for gas. She's insulting my friend and saying I was rude to her. I just want to say that what I'm about to do, some of you might think is wrong, but after years of working in customer service and having to put up with little shits like her, I saw this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to finally give them a taste of their own medicine. I mean, what are they going to do? Fire me? I don't work there anymore. Nobody f***ing likes you. You are the biggest piece of shit I have ever met. She looked at me wide-eyed, frozen in shock. You really f***ing think it's okay to just come here and not tip? And then treat everyone like they are worthless? Why are you like this? Always such a nasty attitude, thinking you're better than everyone. I'm sorry your life is so f***ing miserable that you constantly have to put others down. You are a f***ing bitch. Here's your stuff. You can shove it up your ass. I set the tartar sauce and the drink on the counter. Not gonna lie, I really thought about throwing it at her. Then I just walked out with my check before she could say a word to me. Although I think she was stunned silent. No one probably ever talked to her narcissistic ass like that before. I went home and started telling my boyfriend about it, and before I could even get a few sentences out, the owner of the store is calling me. He wanted me to apologize, and I said no freaking way. So now I'm forever banned from going back there. My friend said that Karen threw the biggest fit after I left, screaming for the manager and the owner, and she almost called the police. Really happy I didn't throw that drink at her now. I did feel bad for leaving her with that mess, but she said that she was thoroughly entertained by this situation, and she wishes she could have cussed her out too. I really wish I had said more to Karen, because on my way home, I thought of all kinds of stuff I could have said. I think this has been building in me for a while, and I finally snapped. Honestly, I do not regret a single word I said to her. TLDR, I went to get a check from my old job, and Karen comes in yelling at me. I don't work there anymore, so I cussed her out. It was very satisfying to me, but now I'm banned. Wow. Just wow. That was an utterly blissful story. And I can think of no better way to stick it to a Karen, at least not without getting arrested, after all the years of abuse that she endured. Lord knows I've had a cartoon thought bubble or two, but it's not very often you hear about someone completely tearing a Karen a new one. Anyways, that's about all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for tuning in with me, Jesse. What did you think of these stories? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and check out what other stories I have for you. I hope each and every one of you has something to be thankful for. I sure do, and that's you guys. I'll catch you in the next one.